welcome to Beyond the Fourth Wall. My name is Philip Lehl. I'm the artistic director of Fourth Wall Theater Company. And strangely, hanging about my house today was Kim Tobin-Lehl, the director of Between Riverside and Crazy. And she just agreed to come talk for 10 minutes with me about the play. Of course, you live here.
Of course I do.
And I do too. So that was easy. That was the first part. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Okay, we got through that.
Also, I'm the co-director because Bill Pruitt is the original director. So I really am in collaboration with my dear friend Bill, who originated this production and did a beautiful job. And I just kind of came in and enriched it and tried to add a little bit to what he had already done. So
one thing I've found in hosting these is that it's great when the guest just wants to talk. And I mean, she already answered my first question.
Oh,
so unbelievable. Yeah, we want to thank Bill Pruitt for doing such a good job with our original production. Now, why did that happen, in case someone is watching this and they don't know?
Well, Bill came in and directed this amazing show with all of the cast that is in this show. So original cast has returned back when the COVID pandemic hit. So we did open this show the weekend that everything was shutting down. So
we did 4 performances.
That was it.
And then we thought, well, we'll have to take like a month break. And
didn't turn out that way. No, we had to start from scratch almost in terms of memorization. That's for sure. But,
that took 2 years, but we got it back up there. We have the most of the original set. Some people stored it for us, and Santiago Cepeda rebuilt it for us. And the costumes by 𝗕𝗲𝗃𝗍 𝗃𝗍 were still hanging out back there, and for the most part. And
most of the stuff's the same. A couple tiny outfit changes, but it's Cherie's design. Robert Meek's sound is almost identical. I think we switched in a couple new songs in some places that were a little bit more relevant to today, but not really much difference.
Who lit the show both times.
And Christina Gianelli, who's did the lighting design, and she came in and did a beautiful job because there was a few blocking adjustments we made just to deal with some sight lines and a few things that helped things move a little bit. And that's what I did coming in the second time around, was find some places where we could tighten things up, make some continuity and pacing issues work a little easier. That's really all I did.
So, and we also had a wonderful prop design by Andrew Cloud, and Jack Gray came in and
took that over.
And
I'm finishing his sentences. We're married.
So, so really, do you think that we had a choice when we brought this back to like try to make it exactly like the thing we'd done 2 years ago, or to do what you said, which is say, hey, you know, we had a good show, but maybe there are a few things that we could tighten up or change? I mean, was there ever a choice in your mind?
Personally, I don't see how a show can be, I personally don't understand how you can take people who've had 2 years of their life affected by something like COVID and affected by something like not being able to perform or do what they love in the same kind of context for 2 years, and not look at them as a director and say, okay, who are you in reference to this pandemic, to your life as an artist with this context involved in how you perform and how you create. So bringing that dynamic to your personality, to your work, to how things all come together and coalesce as a team, I think is going to change things a little bit. It's going to change your connectivity to your fellow man, the way you decide to look at people, the way you decide to have a touchstone place inside you about work, about art, about humanity. Those things evolve over time in any environment, but in a really traumatic environment like COVID, or even the things going on today, like the war in the Ukraine, those things affect you. So I think they have to be taken into consideration when you evolve something.
A short way of saying it might be, or asking it is, do you think you're the same person you are now that you were 2 years ago?
No.
No way.
So you have to pull those elements into a production. I think if you're going to do the best production you can do, of course you could still say, let's just replicate this. And you guys' job is to find the same thing you did. You can do that. It's not like it's impossible, but I think it's not serving art. then you're doing something corporate in a way to me that isn't what art's about. And so, yeah.
So guess what I spent the last like 30 seconds doing instead of listening to you?
Oh no, what?
I was looking at my beard on this, thinking, God, that looks funny. I actually dyed. I'm dyeing my hair for this role that I'm playing in Between Riverside and Crazy, and I kind of re-dyed it last night, and it's still fresh, and it looks a little funny to me. I think it probably looks funny to anybody who's watching.
Well, glad we got that out.
What do you think?
Yeah, chat. There's chat over there. Oh, we're not that live. That's right. All right. Anyway,
we're not live.
Philip a note.
Or you could chat on here. You could also, you could
write a note under this for Philip about how bad his hair looks or how good his hair looks.
Send me an email.
There you go.
I love talking about my hair.
All right.
Well, so Kimmy, you're also acting in this production. We're playing a soon-to-be married couple who obviously found each other late in life.
Right. Well, that happens.
And so how has it been coming back to a part you've already played? What was that like for you?
Well, it's different than it was before because I had to direct too, which not had to, I chose to. And I love the play. So I think the play is so beautiful. One of the things I've noticed that's interesting, and I don't always do this, I can't stop going backstage and listening to the play because I love this play. And that's not me trying to sell it. If you want to come, wonderful. I hope you do, because everybody's doing beautiful work and it's a great play, but I can't stop listening to this play. There's something about this play, and I don't have to be able to articulate it for me, because sometimes some of the greatest experiences for me are things I can't articulate because they do something inside of me that does a shift in my need to know more about people and how life moves. And that's what this makes me feel like. It's like, it makes me feel like I don't know enough about how people live and how people change their own lives. And that's what I think this play does. It's like, oh, these people's lives changed in ways that they don't even necessarily put their finger on or tell you clearly. It's your decision and your choice to go out in the world and try to figure out why people's lives change, and what you can do to contribute to that, and understand that you may never see it. And if you have the opportunity to see how you change someone's life, don't ignore that. That's what this play says to me. So I kind of feel like I'm getting educated on how do lives change and what do you do to change lives? And it's never what you think. I love that.
Very deep answer. I was expecting you to say, I thought it would be easy to remember the lines, but it was hard, just as hard as every time.
No, I'm deep. I'm a deep person. Yes, well, that too. It was hard to learn lines because I'm older. That's our age thing.
We're in our 50s now, and what used to happen in a week takes 3 weeks as far as learning lines goes, right?
This
maybe
is true.
Like that, maybe this 3 times as longer.
Yes.
So if someone is watching this and they're like, well, what's Between Riverside and Crazy? What's it about?
Oh boy.
Do you have a short answer for that, or a long answer?
I never have short answers.
Answer?
I'm a blabber. Okay. So short answer is it's about human relations, about racism and redemption, and struggling to find your identity.
All that. Is it fun? That. Is it funny?
It's funny. It's poignant. It's moving. It's surprising. It's shocking. I mean, it really runs the gamut of experiences you can have in the theater in a 2-hour period of time. That's what's fun about it.
For me, the playwright, Stephen Adly Guirgis, and we've checked that out. That's how he says his last name.
Yes.
Guirgis. Great name. He is, I just think he's a master playwright. The couple of plays that we've produced, I think, are wonderful. And then there are some of his that have been produced by other theater companies in town that were Gravity Players did The Last Days of Judas Iscariot. That comes to mind.
Motherfucker with the Hat.
The Motherfucker with the Hat, just really good productions of, and so Guirgis writes these, he's unbending in his, how he is true to his characters.
Yes.
And yet he manages to make a plot that holds together and goes somewhere you don't expect. The characters have arcs. All of them have arcs. And it's so hard to do. I mean, all you have to do is read a play by almost anyone else, and you'll find out that it's hard to do. But Stephen Adly Guirgis manages to do it every time. He's just great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's fair.
Yep.
Now you have had a little bit of contact with the man. You were supposed to meet him for
Yeah,
lunch one
I
day and it got screwed
know.
up, but
Yeah.
he told you something about the apartment
Yes.
that this play is set in. What did he
Yes.
tell you?
Well, that he lives in it. That basically that's the apartment that
I'm acting like I'm surprised.
oh
he does.
Yeah, well, that was my understanding, unless I heard him wrong, but that he does live on Riverside Drive up in the high 70s or the low 80s. I think it's low 80s. But I went up there and he was writing Halfway Bitches Go to Heaven, which was at Atlantic Theater Company right after the pandemic started to open, I believe, right? Yeah.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, because I was up in New York, but and so he was doing like an all-nighter or something. He slept through my little visit, which was a shame, but hey, he was working really hard to get the show up. So I have all the respect in the world for that. So
it's a better story than, oh yeah, I had coffee with him.
I know, right? I know. It's like, oh, well, I got stood up for a play deadline. I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. So, but we talked a little and he was really apologetic and said next time I'm there, I should try to see him. So I'm hoping that actually comes to fruition at some
He's a
point.
cool guy. He does some acting.
Super
You can see him
cool.
in some movies, in
Yep.
some supporting roles, and he has a TV series that he wrote that I think was on HBO. But anyway, he understands
very approachable
theater and I guess video as well, from the standpoint of an actor as well as the standpoint of a director. I think that's one of the secrets of his success.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Well,
and writes great plays.
I'm going to kick you out of this
Yeah.
room unless there's something else you'd like to tell our audience before you leave.
I just think that what's really been special about this play that I hope people come to is it's been one of these really, I really want people to come out and support and celebrate the artists who are in this play and have designed and been a part of this play. They stuck by this play for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And I think for me, if you guys can take that in and think about how much these people had to love this play and be dedicated to this play, to want to be involved with it so much that they put it on their docket and didn't take other jobs to be able to do this play. That's how, how much it meant to them and how much it moved them, that they wanted to make sure it was back up for Houston audiences. So I think it's a pretty special piece. I think everybody in it is pretty special for staying and committed to it. So
I'm about to talk to two of these actors. They're going to come on. Byron Jacquet, who plays Pops, the central character in our play, and Juan Sebastián Cruz, who plays Oswaldo.
Yep.
They both of those guys, and actually, I think every actor in the show has had jobs that they've done in the interim, as we come out of COVID at other theaters. And, Juan and Briana, Resa were both in 72 Miles to Go at the Alley. Byron was just in Sunrise Coven at Stages. I'm not sure what Joe
P works all the time.
He works all the time.
Who knows where he's
been? What he
been.
might have been doing,
but yeah, he works.
I know
all
he's
the
done
time.
some video.
Vogel works all over town. She was with us. Lifespan of a Fact.
Lifespan of a Fact, right?
Yeah.
And are we leaving anybody out? Well,
No.
us, but we give ourselves jobs.
Here
well, listen,
okay.
Juan is
Juan
here. So why don't you leave and then I'll let Juan on and we'll continue this.
Okay, thanks everybody.
I love her.
I love him.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Bye everybody.
Hi Juan. Welcome. I'm recording right now.
Great.
Yeah. So welcome to Beyond the Fourth Wall, our podcast, I guess it is. And Kim was just on and we were talking about you, and we were talking about how we know that you've done some projects in the interim between our first production of Between Riverside and Crazy and this, and I mentioned 72 Miles to Go, which you did at the Alley downstairs. And was there anything else?
Yes. I mean, it was the era of Zoom, everything, right? So
yeah.
There's definitely some Zoom readings and some Zoom projects, including of note, David Rainey with the Landing Theater, which I don't believe is still in operation, but he was doing a really cool playwriting festival where because of taking advantage of Zoom and internet was able to be sort of nationwide. So playwrights from all over the country were able to sort of tune in. So I got to work on a particular script from a dude who was based in Chicago. And that was really, really awesome. to sort of workshop that script and then perform it on Zoom. So that was one of the things I got to do. And another thing of note was with Catastrophic Theater and 𝗕𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃. She was doing a project called the Drama Squad,
Oh,
where
yeah.
the idea was to sort of take like a sort of little acting troupe on the road, and people who would purchase the show, you would drive to their house and perform either in their front yard or backyard, sort of a variety vaudeville kind of style. We had skits, musical numbers, variety things. It was really, really cool little project.
Kim and I tried to order the Drama Squad, and I forget what happened. It was like we got it, but then they said, "Hey, someone else wants it," or I forget, but we didn't get it, and I
Oh,
didn't.
really? Oh, no.
Yeah,
There was there was only ever two squads running like in
right.
conjunction. So I guess it would just depend on who, who, what, when, and where.
Exactly. I thought that was a marvelous idea. It's something that I kind of wish they would like keep doing. Maybe they will. Who
It
knows?
was really fun. And I mean, as long as you scheduled it not in peak summer or peak winter, like you could do it. And it was really nice to be outside. And
Yeah.
it was always an adventure. You kind of knew who you were showing, whose lawn you were showing up on.
There's a
But
person in New York who does a play that they wrote. They perform it in a bathtub, but they come to your apartment in New York City, and you can only have like 4 people watch. I think that's the deal, and
right.
and they do their bathtub play. So
Oh
yeah,
man, that's
those
crazy.
those kind of things really intrigue me.
Yes. Sort of
Yeah,
unconventional approaches to theater. Or maybe they
right.
were conventional once upon a time, but now we're sort of in the proscenium audience. And it's fun to break into
Back
that sometimes.
back in ancient Greece, there was a guy who did bathtub plays. I
You
don't know.
see?
Um, but so let's turn towards Between Riverside and Crazy, which is the play we're performing in as we speak, sort of. I mean, we're not performing it right now, obviously, but on Thursday coming up, we'll do it again. So you play Oswaldo,
Mhm.
and well, give this audience just a little thumbnail of who that character is.
Yeah, I feel like Oswaldo is trying to find his way, his life, and he's a good person at heart who was around the wrong people at the wrong time. And I think that sort of led to a lot of unfortunate circumstances in his life early on. This is all sort of talking about the start of the play.
Right.
You do find out through given circumstances that he had a traumatic childhood, uh, potentially abusive father, maybe like in and out of homes. And then outside of that, that he was in prison, that he's a recovering drug addict. Um,
And how did he come to be living in this apartment with Walter Pops Washington?
so he's friends with the main character, Walter Washington's son, whose name is Junior. Where they met could have been in prison, could have been out on the streets. There's no telling. But I would imagine that it was something where Oswaldo was struggling again, fresh out of prison, trying to get his life back on the road. And I've met some people who have just come out of prison, and there's just no support. They sort
Yeah.
of launch you out there and sort of give you your parameters that you're not allowed to break. But outside of that, it's kind of difficult sometimes. So
Yeah.
Junior was probably, hey, you can come crash with me, and my pops will let you in. And so that's kind of where he ends up there at the start of the play. He's been there for a little while for sure, but he's not paying rent yet. So, he hasn't been there for too long.
One of my favorite things about Oswaldo, and I don't know if audiences pick up on this, or I've had, of course, the chance to listen to the play a lot, but he's going to visit his father at one point, and he's bringing him a present. Could you tell the audience what that
Yes,
present
yes.
is?
So part of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, or NA, Narcotics Anonymous, is this sort of list, this sort of like guide points of how you can sort of repair your life or yourself and sort of get back on your feet. And one of those things is to make amends with people who you have hurt in your life or have maybe hurt you in your own life. So one of those people for Oswaldo is his father. So he needs to go visit him, and he decides to bring him a little gift. And the gift that he decides to pick up is a hammer, like a framing hammer from Home Depot. Whether he thinks his dad is going to go, build something, or his dad's a crafty person, or he just didn't know and decided.
We don't know, but it is, to me, it's one of the details in the show that just makes me laugh and think what a great playwright Stephen Edgar
Yes.
is.
Yeah, you know, because for mothers, you can do the dinner, you can make a card, but for fathers, it's always like a tool to go do
Right.
something else with
Yeah,
no
yeah.
fixed
How many ties did I give my
ties,
dad for
tools.
Father's Day? I never gave my dad a hammer though. Well, Juan, tell these folks a little bit about who you are, where you grew up, where you went to school, and I don't know, maybe how you got interested in acting, something
Yeah,
along those
man.
lines.
Yeah, for
Who
sure.
is this
So
fellow Juan Sebastián
a
Cruz?
little bit of Juan Sebastián Cruz. So they use my full name in college a lot. No, man, I was born in Bogota, Colombia, in South America. But I came to the States as a baby when I was 2 years old. So I've grown up my entire life here in the United States. Started off in Florida until I was about 11. So my early childhood was there. And then I moved to Houston. So I've been in Houston for middle school, high school, college, and career. So Houston is definitely home for me. Still have a lot of family in Colombia, but a lot here in the United States as well. So that's been cool to sort of have that like dual identity to maintain connections with my roots, but also obviously I'm a citizen of both countries. I'm American Colombian, you know, all the way.
What uh,
Um,
what got you the acting bug? How did you catch the acting bug?
so I had never really done theater. I remember I did some small little play in elementary school, but now I think back, I didn't do my first real play until I was in college. Second semester of my freshman year, I went to here in Houston, Rice University to study engineering, of all things. And in high school, I was always doing band. But I remember anytime there was the opportunity to present a project in class that, you know, sometimes teacher would be like, you can write a paper or you can do a
Yeah.
presentation. I always opted for the presentation. I never minded getting up in front of people, reading a poem, presenting a PowerPoint, and I would always do all the talent shows and in band, you know, all the performances. So it's really no surprise to me that once I sort of discovered theater in college, just a friend of mine, her name is Rachel Landsman, so shout out to her. But she was like, "Come do audition for this play," and I did, and I did a really good job with it, and everybody was very encouraging. So I decided to switch out of the engineering major and go full theater,
Was
and
that a
that's kind of how I
Rice?
ended up here.
Was that a Rice University play or like Rice Players?
It's a student theater group at Rice called the Rice Players, who have been around far longer than the department. I mean, 40, 50 years. Some OGs in Houston came through Rice and were part of the Rice Players. Rob Kimbrough, Becky Uden Green. Um, but yeah, so that was my first experience really with theater.
What was the play?
The play was The Mystery Plays by Roberto Aguirre, I think is his name, or maybe it's like a hyphenated last name. Um,
I don't know that play.
yeah, man. And I played this main character for the second act. They sort of had like two different stories, and he was crazy. He was like caught up in the wrong thing, and he carried a bat around and like bashed the crate on stage. His older sister's trying to like reconcile with everything. He'd show up in like flashbacks. It was a really cool role.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you got out of Rice several years ago, and you've worked at many of Houston's well, I'll just say many Houston theaters, including Fourth Wall that I know of, the Alley, at
Mhm.
least twice.
Yeah, so I've done this show with Fourth Wall. I've done 3 shows at the Alley, including some of the new play festivals. I've done a full play as well as several play festivals with Stages Repertory Theater. I've done a musical with Tuts as well.
What did
And
you
then
do for Tuts?
yeah, I did Guys and Dolls in 2017.
I knew that. I forgot.
Yeah. They were
Yeah.
doing sort of like a Latin inspired Guys and Dolls.
Yeah.
The right place at the right time for me. So those have been really good. I've gotten to do supernumerary work with HGO. I've gone to like host student matinees with the Houston Symphony, and then I've gone to work catastrophic as well, landing theater in some smaller capacities. And then even be able to go back to Rice. They do a Shakespeare festival every year. I got to go back and do what's called Baker Shake with them one year, both as a student and then afterwards as an alum. And then also St. Luke's. I want to shout out St. Luke's United Methodist Church. They have a little community theater there that I've done a couple things with as well.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, man. Just again, one of those like.
Said you did The Music Man with.
I did The Music Man with St. Luke's. Yeah.
Cool.
The
Did you
music director
play?
there,
What
Sid
did you
Davis.
play?
I was in the barbershop quartet.
Ah,
JC, I was the high tenor.
so you sing well.
I can sing, yeah. If I got a couple
Yeah.
other people around me who can sing as
Well,
well.
yeah, but that's not easy singing.
No, it definitely required, I had to read the sheet music, practice it.
Well, and it's close harmony too, so you have to be able to
Exactly, yeah.
deal with that,
Yeah,
which
so
not
be able to
everybody
hold your own
can.
note.
I didn't know that about you. This is so cool. I love sometimes these things reveal things about people that I didn't know.
Yeah, because it's kind of the thing, like, why else would I randomly bring that up? But in this sort of
Yeah,
format, you get to discover some things, which is nice.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
man.
love it. Well, Juan, do you have any projects coming up that you'd like our audience to know about?
Sure. So the next thing I'll be doing immediately after Between Riverside and Crazy is I'll be working with the Adly All New, the play festival there in June, on workshopping a script called 𝗕𝗲𝗃𝗃. It's really cool. It's about Mexican bullfighters. It's a very interesting script. So that'll be the next project that I have coming up. So if you want to check that out, like towards the end of June, that's where I'll be at.
That's great. Do you remember who's the playwright and who's the director? And
Her
if you don't,
name
it's
is,
okay.
and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but her name is Monet Hurst. MONETHURST. I've not met her before or worked with her before, but I'm excited to see what she brings to the table.
That's the playwright.
That's the playwright. Yes, sir.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, good. That's wonderful. I think the Adly All New Festival is a jewel of Houston. I don't know if I've ever said that in public, but you know, the amount of work and resources it takes to read through all the plays that certainly get sent to the Adly All New Festival, and then identify the ones that have potential, and then, you know, cast and find the artists to produce those, and then carry it all the way through. And then, as has been happening more and more at the Adly, to then take that play onto the final destination, which is a full production. It's fascinating and wonderful, and it doesn't happen a lot of places.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's this real renaissance right now of really focusing on playwrights, different voices, and other theater, stages has their own playwright festival.
Absolutely.
80 Players is doing something right now. And you guys are doing like the Houston premiere of stuff, like trying to just really branch out.
But I think, there's a difference there, because we really don't have the bandwidth to do world premieres. It's so, like I said, you have to go through so many and find the right one and identify it and nurture it. We just don't have the bandwidth to do it at Fourth Wall. And that's why and you're right, Stages has done it, 80 Players is branching into it, and they've committed a lot of energy and money, frankly, to it. And it's miraculous, and I can only envy it. I can't do it.
Sure. But it's great, man. We're all doing our part.
Yeah, I mean, and David Rainey was doing it at the Landing before they decided to end their operations. And I don't know how he managed that, because I mean, that was his main focus. We do focus on trying to premiere plays at Fourth Wall, but they tend to be plays that have a proven track record.
Sure.
And that's what the All New Festival starts, a track record for a play, which is
to be a part of that. When I started off acting, I didn't really pay too much attention to readings and new plays. I was like, it's just not a full production. But now I love it, because it's such an important part of the process, and it's going to be the next wave of new voices and new playwrights. And that's really cool.
Well, good. Well, folks, you can see Juan on stage at Fourth Wall through the rest of the run of Between Riverside and Crazy by Stephen Adly Guirgis. And after that, you can go check him out at the Adly All New. And Juan, I thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
I appreciate you having me on, Phil. Thanks.
Thanks, man. I'll see you soon. I'm going to take you out of here, and I'm going to get Byron Jacquet to come on.
Bye.
You can take yourself out of here, yeah?
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Thanks. Bye. Okay. Hey, folks, welcome back. I'm with Byron Jacquet, who joins us from the comfort of, I'm guessing, your home.
Yes. Unusual. Yes, I'm home.
I'm in my home. Perfect. What an amazing world we live in. One thing we have to thank COVID for. This amazing technology. So Byron, I've talked a little bit with Kim and a little bit with Juan about the play, and we've mentioned that you are playing Walter Pops Washington, who is the central character in this play. I don't think you'd disagree with that. I think my first question to you is, when is the last time you played a character that was on stage 99.5% of the play.
Never. This is the first. Never. I've played a lot, big roles, a lot of lines, but not like this. Never like this.
Well, so I didn't think that would be your answer. I just thought it would be like, yeah, 10 years ago I did this or whatever. But yeah, it's a huge role.
Huge. It's a dream role for most actors. It has everything. For me, it has a lot of everything, not a little of everything, a lot of everything. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot of life and life lessons are all in this. It's just so meaty, juicy of a role for me.
And he goes from, when we meet him, he is at a place in his life that is so totally different from where he is at the end of this play. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And again, funny you said that, from the beginning to the end, you're learning his life. You're learning about, he talks about growing up and not having a father, about his mother and all of that. He talks to Juan and the characters, Oswaldo and his son Junior, a lot about that at the beginning, and then we go through his present life and the things he's going through. And we talk about the past 8 years, him trying to get this money and dealing with the cops in the city and all of that. That's all life stories, everyday life stories, actually, in today's world. And that's what I love about it. I love being able to play all of that.
Yeah, I love it. And you're doing it so beautifully. I'm just going to say right now that your video is stuck, but I can hear you. So I think we should go on. It's sort of like interviews from on TV news back in the 80s when someone was way away and they couldn't get a video, but they had a picture of him. So we're going to go with that for now. Just so you know.
Yeah, I'm not moving anymore, I see.
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're not moving. But you look handsome, so I think it's okay. Maybe Catherine will take part of this out. Who knows? But so yeah, I think you just described him beautifully, and we've talked a bit about how we did this play once 2 years ago, and we got it ready, and we did 4 performances of it. And then we had to stop because of COVID and wait. Mm-hmm. And we're so grateful that you wanted to come back. I'm not surprised because, as you say, it's a dream role. But do you think that those intervening years changed how you see Pops?
Somewhat, not as much as, and I've gotten this question a lot. Somewhat, in that a lot of the things that's still happening today, he talks about in his play, So just those present incidents or occurrences, within the past 2 years that have happened has maybe enhanced how I feel or how I approach the role in itself. But other than that, this play is written so well. It's just perfect, just the way it is. And that's what, again, I couldn't wait to come back just to do that. Do that.
I said almost the same thing earlier about how beautifully written the play is. And so in some ways, like, what would we change besides tightening it something here and there, or maybe changing a transition or a bit of blocking to, but.
And I think we did that. I think we accomplished that this time, those exact things that you just said. I think we got to that. We even shaved off some time doing all of that, which was great.
I joked earlier that it still takes me a longer time to learn lines, but when you've already had the lines inside you, as we did 2 years ago, for me it was easier this time.
I agree.
And it felt like they're like, when I'm out there now, they come easier.
Yeah. And I agree. And I wondered and worried. And when I did pick up the script a few months ago, things started coming back. And I was so excited because when I did it, 2 years ago, I was 60. I'm 63 now. I was 61, 63 now. And I was like, okay, two extra years. Can you remember all of these lines now that you're 2 years older? And I'm like, okay, he's not senile yet. He doesn't have dementia or nothing yet. He's still learning these lines because God, it's a lot. But I love lines. And I'm that actor. I've always, I tell all my young actors, how could you not like lines and want to be an actor? That's what it's all about. Lines. You gotta know your lines. So if you don't like lines, you need to find something else to do. But I've always loved lines. So again, for me, this is perfect. I eat this up. Might be the last one too. I eat this up.
Yeah, I hear you. Byron just said it might be the last one too. And I think he's talking about something he told me the other night, which is this might be my last acting role. And I think I would say to that, well, hold on, wait and see how you feel. And, after you've had a week of rest when you're done with this, and maybe you don't have to play Walter Pops Washington again. You do like a 1 or 2 scene role, kind of like the one I'm doing in Between Riverside and Crazy now, which is maybe not as taxing. Well, maybe you won't be interested because you're spoiled. I don't know.
No, I've never been spoiled. It's just, I don't know. I guess I can say to everybody, I still have the passion. I love being on stage. It's the process. It's the 3-4 weeks of rehearsal. When you get past 60, it's like, oh man, I got to do this every day. Like I joked with Kim at the beginning. I said, look here, I know all my lines. I just see y'all the first preview. And she bust out laughing. She said, yeah, right, Byron. I was like, I don't need to come to rehearsals. I see y'all preview. And I joked with Susan the same way at the last show. But I don't know. We'll see. I think I'll just be more selective, but we'll see. We'll see.
You're referring to a show that you just finished at Stages right before we started Between Riverside. Tell us about that.
Sunrise Coven was about this nurse. Excuse me, the sinus is kicking my butt right now.
Yeah, me too.
About a nurse at this very small town called B-Town in Texas, little small town. And I played the resident school teacher, science teacher, shop teacher, that kind of stuff. So it was like 7 of us in the cast. It dealt a lot with healthcare.
Yeah.
And healthcare and witchcraft.
And
it was really interesting, very interesting show. We had a lot of like fire and smoke and lights and all of that kind of stuff. But comedy.
Yeah.
Comedy farce, I want to say,
Yeah, so you've been busy, and we were talking. I was just talking with Juan Cruz about some of the work he's done that is world premiere and new theater. And this play is not only a world premiere; it was written by a local playwright, Brendan Bork-Shell, and yeah, it was. We went and saw you in it, and it's just wonderful to see, theaters doing that kind of work.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
So I'd ask you what your next project was going to be, but you've already told us that this might be
Rest.
Yes. Well,
yes.
Byron, we as we're doing this interview, we've completed 4 performances of this time, and that's how many we did last time. So we're all crossing our fingers that we're going to make it to number 5. This is like, I think Joe made a comment last Sunday. Now we're going to feel like we're really doing the run because we've done this and we had to stop here. So we're not stopping, and everybody kind of froze. It was like, okay, nobody's tested positive or nothing. So we're guaranteed to come back here Thursday, right? You did not just say that out loud, Joe P. What is wrong with you? Oh man, yeah. Byron, I thank you so much for doing this. Is there anything you'd want our audiences to know that I haven't hit on?
Oh, come see it, please. Come. It's a wonderful piece. It's, I've ran in a few cops, police officers, I'd love for them to come and see this piece. I really, really would. So anybody out there who knows any relatives, anybody who are police officers, spread the word and get them to come out and see the piece.
But let's tell, like, if someone's watching this or listening to this, tell them why you say that. What's the connection in the play?
Well, I play a retired cop who has been fighting. I got shot by what we call a racist young white police officer. And I sued the city and the police and the NYPD. And this has been going on for 8 years now. I haven't gotten any money. I haven't gotten anything because I accused him of calling me the N-word. And it's basically about cops. Philip plays a lieutenant, a wonderful role that he plays in this play. And his wife, Kim, plays my partner, the detective. So it's all about us, you know, and the intricacy of being a police officer, the feelings come out that I think a lot of cops feel today, but you get to hear it and see it live on stage and bring it back home. You might get something good out of this, something positive, because I always believe the problem in America today is we're not talking. Things are happening, but we're not talking.
Yeah.
We talk about it, it'll help, it'll get better to hear it from each other. This is a way to do it. Come out and see this play, please.
Thanks,
Byron. I love it.
You ran into a couple of policemen. I know you just said that, and the story of you telling them about this play and then sort of their response was very interesting to me. I don't know if you want to share that on here, but yeah, I agree with you that I would love for policemen to come see this play.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about them, you know, and their lives and how they feel, and probably don't come out and express that today.
Yeah,
in your life.
And it's not, you know, the playwright is so good because it's not, it doesn't come down on one side or the other. No. He puts it out there and lets you decide.
Yeah. I mean, it's real. You know, a lot of it is real. All of it is real to me. You know, how people, their opinions and feelings about things in this country, you know, that has been created by us.
Yeah. You said it very well. Well, Byron, Jacquet, thank you so much for coming on Beyond the Fourth Wall. I'm going to say goodbye to our folks here, and then I'll say goodbye to you in a minute. But thank you. If you made it this far, you're a true fan. You can visit our website. You can call for tickets. There's probably other ways to do it. And we sure hope you come out and see Between Riverside and Crazy before it ends in a couple of weeks, or
1824 Spring Street. Come see us.
You're the best guest ever. Okay. Goodbye.
Beyond the Fourth Wall is produced by Fourth Wall Theater Company, Houston's home for extraordinary performances up close. Each guest is paid for their appearance on this series, in accordance with our mission to pay artists a living wage. Follow the links in the video description to learn more about Fourth Wall, to purchase tickets, or to make a tax-deductible donation.